Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining this side event organized by UNEP MAPS Barak, dealing with the Barcelona Convention strategies and efforts related to MPAs in the Mediterranean. And since we are holding this side event in a hybrid way, so we have participants in person here in this room, and we have online participants. So I will just quickly brief you on the rules to be followed for the logistic aspects, especially regarding the online participations. And let me first remind you that this session is run with simultaneous interpretations. So for the English speaker, please choose the English channel. And for the French one, please choose the French one. And for the online participants, please be ensured that your full name appears in the Zoom following the instructions. So with your name and the institutions you belong to. And be informed that this session will be recorded. So please mute your microphones when you do not speak. Otherwise, our technical support person will do it in order to avoid background noise. And there will be a presentation to be made by my colleagues, which are coordinating with me these sessions, Mrs. Souha EL ASMI, Program Officer on Specially Protected Areas, and Mrs. Saba GUELLOUZ, Program Officer in charge of the elaboration of the post-2020 sub-bio. And so for the question and answers session, along with the discussion session, please take the floor and we will give you the floor following the reservation order. And you could take the floor by raising the hand using the reaction menu. And last but not least, you are welcome to provide comments and any questions in the discussion sessions. For the participants in person, and for the participants online, please use the Zoom chat box for your comments and or questions. So as I said, this session will be divided in two parts. The first one will be dedicated to a presentation to be made by my two colleagues, and then we will have a pool of panelists that will present us feedbacks on the efforts made within the Barcelona Convention to conserve the marine and coastal biodiversity in the Med. So I will first call my colleague Souha to start presenting the first part of the her first part of the presentation. Then we will give the floor to Saba. Souha, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much. Let me first thank you for bearing with us very late, even if we had a very long day. So we will present the Barcelona Convention strategies for the conservation of biodiversity and protected areas. So as you may know, maybe that SPARAC is supporting the Mediterranean countries in undertaking many efforts to create protected areas and to enhance their management. And that we help them from the first steps, from undertaking baseline studies, ecological survey, socioeconomic survey, stakeholders mapping, etc., until the phases of elaboration of management plans, until also the implementation of management and monitoring actions on the field within this new protected areas or even future protected areas, because we are accompanying many Mediterranean countries into establishing protected areas, and especially those from the south and the east. Yes, the red slice that we were talking about this morning. So those efforts have been intensified during the last 20 years, especially after the entry into force of the Specially Protected Areas and Biodiversity Protocol, entry into force that happened in 1999. So, so in that, we've been supporting as much as 44 sites around the Med in 14 Mediterranean countries. So these efforts would not been possible without a regional level cooperation. And in that, we've, SPARAC, developed many regional projects and pilot actions supported by many international donors. And we've also been collaborating of the many partners that are also contributing to the to this forum, like ACOBAMS, GFCM, IUCN, the MedPan, WWF, and Oceana, like and other NGOs, local NGOs active in the Mediterranean countries, and many donors have been supporting us. The most important of them is the European Union, the GEF, the French GEF, and some private donors like the MAVA Foundation, the Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation, and others. There is another kind of cooperation, which is the bilateral cooperation, which is also an important way to prospect, to also help direct or indirect sometimes going through the Secretariat of Barcelona Convention, bilateral linkages between countries. In this respect, we had received the support of the Italian Ministry of Environment during 2018 and 2019 in the development of something that we are very happy about, and we call that the SPAMI twinning program. The SPAMI also has the objective to function as a network. And we didn't have that until very recently, until we have the genius idea of making these twinning programs between SPAMIs, sometimes from the north and the south, most of the time, one from the north, one from the south. And we've been continuing with the support of other donors into this SPAMI twinning program, starting from this year, MAVA Foundation and the European Union again. Also, research, universities, institutions of research are also big allies to help us undertake in those surveys into marine MPAs. And of course, national and local NGOs are also supporting us in our actions on the field. I mean, maybe it's not... Let's repeat that. Yes, in spite of all this effort, we're not already there. And as we've been saying this morning, the network is not representative. The present system of protected areas is not representative of the whole Mediterranean region nor whole Mediterranean ecosystems. And a lot of efforts have to be done into a big part of the Mediterranean. What was our action to tackle that challenge? Because we are a convention and and we have contracting parties, so to push the action within these parties, we need to develop strategies. And the time to develop strategies is 2020, because this was a previous horizon or deadline, and also the starting of a new era, the post-2020. So this year, we've developed two major strategies. The post-2020 regional strategy for marine and coastal protected areas and for OECMs in the Mediterranean. And another even bigger strategy, it's the post-2020 SAP Bio. SAP Bio is the strategic action program for the conservation of biodiversity and natural resources in the Mediterranean. So these are on their ways to be adopted during COP22 of Barcelona Convention that will happen next week in Antalya in Turkey. So this is rapidly a diagram of the MCPA and the WCM strategy. Can I have a mic because I can't see the, sorry. Hello. Yes. This MCPA strategy is built around 5 major pillars. The pillar 1 is related to governance of MPA, and it aims to have, by the horizon of 2020, an inclusive and effective governance of protected areas and WCMs in the region. The second pillar is about MPA coverage, which is also a gap in the region. So we should definitely increase the coverage, but not only the coverage of paper parks, but the coverage of effective marine and coastal protected areas supported by those EUCMs. Let's see how this EUCM thing will progress in the Mediterranean. The second pillar is EUCMs, and EUCMs is a way to invite sectors to help the environment into managing sustainably the marine ecosystems that we have. So it's a way to helping the countries to reach the ambitious target, and also it's a way to bringing the sectors to think conservation. So while managing an area for fisheries, let's think conservation. While managing an area for cultural heritage, why not also conserving and protecting ecosystems? So the Barcelona Convention ambitions to play a role into the identification, recognition, and reporting of those EUCMs to maybe to the global database by the CBD and IUCN or whoever, and we're not really interfere into their management, because their management would fall under the mission of other international organizations and not the Barcelona Convention. The fourth pillar is about management effectiveness, and this is also a whole chapter to be really tackled in the Mediterranean and to be thought in a systematic way within the countries, etc., and to have all the finances, sustainable finances we need to back this effective management on the long term. The last but not least pillar is about supporting this action by the whole community of stakeholders, going from the government into the CSOs until the wider public. So how to convince them to be our allies and to work with us into this action. This is my last slide, so I would invite Saba to carry on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Atef. Thank you, Souha. Good evening, everyone. I will present the post-2020 sub-bio, but before I will take a few minutes to present the process of elaboration of the strategy, which has been fully participative and at the national, regional level. After the evaluation of the first Sabayo implementation in 2019, the Barcelona Convention COP 21st requested to elaborate the post-2020 strategic action program for biodiversity conservation and sustainable management of natural resources in the Mediterranean region. To that end, SPARA carried out a bottom-up process to identify priorities, needs, and orientations at national and sub-regional level, which was the basis for the elaboration of the draft strategic document in coordination with the Sabayo Advisory Committee and under the guidance of the national correspondents. Since June 2021, we are in the process of adoption of the post-2020 Sabayo. So the logic of the post-2020 Sabayo develops through a hierarchical pattern and terminology analogous to that proposed by the CBD Global Biodiversity Framework draft. The vision is by 2015, marine and coastal biodiversity is evaluated, conserved, restored, and wisely used, maintaining ecosystem services, sustaining a healthy Mediterranean sea and coast, and delivering benefits essential for nature and people. The mission is by 2030, start to reverse the loss of biodiversity and put the Mediterranean marine and coastal biodiversity on the path to recovery for the benefit of nature and people. 3 goals were identified. The first one is simply to reduce the threats to biodiversity. The second one is to ensure that biodiversity is preserved and maintained or enhanced in order to meet people's needs. The third goal is enable the necessary transformative change, putting in place tools and solutions for implementation and mainstreaming. For addressing the drivers of biodiversity loss and adding up to achieve goals, 27 targets were identified. They are smart and harmonized with main biodiversity frameworks. The targets dealing with MPAs are in two targets. One on effective systems of MCPAs and OECMs, and deal with the 30% coverage that all of us are discussing about the whole day. I will not repeat the whole issue. The second target dealing with the protected areas is on areas with enhanced protection levels. It says by 2030, the number and coverage of marine and coastal protected areas with enhanced protection levels is increased, contributing to recovery of marine ecosystems. And finally, the actions. The post-2020 strategic action program indeed addresses 42 clear actions that countries can reasonably undertake with the coordination of relevant international bodies and funding agency, which is really very important. The post-2020 SABAYO has been developed in parallel with the strategy on MCPAs and OECMs presented by my colleague Souha, which was also requested by the COP21 of the Barcelona Convention. All matters related to MPAs and OECMs are detailed under that strategy and not in the SABAYO strategy. Finally, the way forward will be obviously implementing, financing, and monitoring the strategies that hopefully will be adopted by COP22 next week. The strategy are to be implemented by contracting parties, that's to say Mediterranean countries, supported by the Secretariat and other regional international organizations and donors, and the strategies to be streamlined and supported by other key initiatives for a better impact as MPA Forum process and other strategies for biodiversity and so on. And thank you for listening.
So thank you, Souha and Saba, for presenting these two strategies under the SPABD protocols, and let's hope that they will be endorsed and adopted by the COP22 that will be held next week in Antalya in Turkey, the COP of the Barcelona Conventions. So before passing to the pool of panelists, if you have a quick questions or comment, so the floor is open. Is there any reaction, any comment from the audience? Was it enough clear? Okay, so let's move and we'll have the pool of panelists. So we will invite Mr. Genti Kromida from Albania, Mrs. Lara Samaha from Lebanon, Mrs. Mouloud Ben Abdi from Algeria, and I don't know if our colleague Abdel Moula has joined already or not from Libya. Okay, Lara, please, could you join the stage? I can't see, yes. Okay, and I have also to inform you that we have one panelist participating online, Mr. Hussein Bazairi from Morocco. So we will start maybe with Mr. Hussein Bazairi. Alors je vais donc parler en français. Monsieur Hussein Bazairi, bienvenue parmi nous.
Merci, Atef.
Malheureusement, il était prévu que M. Hussein Bazairi prenne donc part à ce forum en personne, mais bon, les restrictions de dernière minute, voilà, prononcées par le Maroc, donc nous a empêché de l'avoir parmi nous. De toutes les façons, on est très heureux de l'avoir avec nous, même participant en ligne. Donc, est-ce que les collègues, les techniciens peuvent épingler M. Bazairi afin qu'on peut commencer avec lui, la priorité à nos participants en ligne? Voilà, le voilà. Monsieur Bezairi, alors, en tant que panéliste participant à ce pool, nous vous demanderons de nous faire part d'un feedback rapide en 5 minutes sur les efforts déployés dans le cadre de la Convention de Barcelone pour renforcer le réseau marocain d'Arménie protégée et nous faire part également de l'expérience vécue pour le travail ou le processus mené pour déclarer Jbel Moussa en tant que future aire marine protégée. Vous avez la parole pour 5 minutes, Monsieur Bezairi.
Merci, Monsieur Atef, mes chers collègues. Ça fait plaisir d'être avec vous-même en virtuel. Vous m'entendez?
Oui,
très bien. Alors, c'est un grand plaisir de vous raconter une histoire, une dynamique qui a commencé au Maroc depuis le Rio de Janeiro. Le pays, elle était conscient de l'intérêt de la biodiversité biologique, donc il a élaboré un plan pour les aires protégées au Maroc. Et donc, il a commencé par identifier des sites d'intérêt biologique et écologique parce qu'à défaut d'une loi, il n'y avait que la loi sur les aires protégées en matière de parcs nationaux. Et donc, à défaut d'une loi, l'essentiel a été déclaré comme site d'intérêt biologique et écologique. Et en 2010, c'était l'adoption d'une loi, nouvelle loi sur les aires marines, les aires protégées au Maroc, dans laquelle il y avait la possibilité de créer plusieurs catégories d'aires protégées. Et suite à cela, le Maroc a commencé à élaborer un cadre stratégique pour son plan directeur des aires protégées. Et l'année 2012, c'était une année importante parce qu'avec l'intervention du SPARAC et avec, bien sûr, sur la demande des autorités marocaines, il a été question pour honorer ses engagements dans le cadre de la Convention de Barcelone, de commencer par faire une priorisation de ces sites qui ont été déjà identifiés sur la côte méditerranéenne marocaine, et puis d'ériger, après cette priorisation, d'ériger les premiers en aire marine, en aire protégée. Et donc, dans cet exercice, le SPARAC, à travers ses interventions et ses projets MPA net au départ en 2012-2013, on a travaillé sur le site Cap des Trois Fourches qui a été priorisé comme le premier site à l'échelle de la Méditerranée marocaine, qui a été suivi par le site de Jbel Moussa. Et je vous ai fait cette introduction pour vous dire que là, c'était une feuille de route qui a été élaborée en 2012 et qu'on suit maintenant, qu'on travaille sur cette feuille de route. Et donc, la stratégie, c'était de faire des interventions de terrain pour améliorer les connaissances sur les biodiversités marines et côtières dans les sites. Et puis, aller ensuite faire un plan de gestion et un business plan. Alors, le site de Jbel Moussa, c'était le deuxième site dans le classement, la priorisation qui a été faite au Maroc. Donc, on a commencé à travailler dans le site de Jbel Moussa. Donc, c'était après une expérience au Cap des Trois Fourches où on avait des choses, on savait déjà des choses qu'il fallait faire, des choses qu'il ne fallait pas faire, etc. Et donc, le processus, c'était le même comme celui au Cap des Trois Fourches. On a commencé par une actualisation et une amélioration des connaissances à travers des interventions de terrain pour faire des inventaires actualisés et des cartographies des fonds marins. Et ensuite, ça c'était en 2014-2015 et après on a fait en 2016-2017 élaborer un plan de gestion et que les autorités marocaines ont voulu un plan de gestion intégré, partie terrestre, partie marine. Et donc, cet exercice a été réalisé de manière intégrée, concertée, selon l'approche bottom-up, en faisant participer tous les partenaires, les parties prenantes, les pêcheurs, etc. Et c'était aussi l'occasion donc de travailler avec nos partenaires, l'INRAH, l'Institut national de recherche halieutique, le département de pêche maritime, les autorités locales, etc. Et après adoption de ce plan de gestion a commencé une autre phase qui est actuelle, la phase actuelle qui est la mise en œuvre du plan de gestion qui a été adopté dans le Jbel Moussa, qui était un site, mais les études ont montré que c'est un site qui mérite amplement d'être érigé en aire marine protégée. Et donc, dans ce cadre, nous collaborons avec des acteurs locaux parce qu'il y a un projet sur place pour le cogestion, un projet de cogestion qui a été financé dans le cadre d'un projet MedFund et donc et qui est géré par l'association Grépon BirdLife Maroc, et donc avec laquelle le SPARAC et les autorités marocaines, les pêches maritimes et le département des eaux forêts, qui est l'interlocuteur officiel du SPARAC. Et donc l'objectif, on est passé de l'apport des connaissances et de l'amélioration des connaissances à la mise en œuvre d'un plan de gestion, donc à travers des actions pour la communauté locale. Et là, le SPARAC, bientôt, il va élaborer deux stratégies, une stratégie sur la pêche durable, une stratégie pour l'intégration socio-économique sur place. Donc voilà rapidement pour vous dire que en résumé, en définitif, la dernière décennie a connu un essor très important en matière de aires protégées, aires marines protégées qui sont élaborées dans le cadre de la Convention de Barcelone. Bien sûr, les collègues du département de pêche maritime avec leurs équipes, avec l'INRAH, etc., travaillent aussi sur les AMP à des fins de pêche. Et là, je serai le soin peut-être dans une autre occasion à mes collègues d'en parler. Moi, j'ai parlé de ces actions et de ces projets dans lesquels j'ai participé et surtout dans le cadre de la Convention de Barcelone. Donc, en résumé, voilà, depuis 2012, il y a beaucoup de choses qui se font au Maroc. C'est à travers une feuille de route pour honorer les engagements vis-à-vis de la Convention de Barcelone et aussi à travers des conventions internationales comme la CBD. Et donc, il y a une amélioration des connaissances, une élaboration de plans de gestion et une mise en œuvre de ces plans de gestion qui a été élaboré. Et la dernière des choses, c'est qu'actuellement, il y a eu un changement institutionnel, réglementaire, pardon. Et donc, il y a maintenant l'apparition, on a vu en avril, on a eu le décret d'application de la nouvelle loi sur les aires protégées, et donc ce qui laisse clarifier un petit peu les dispositions institutionnelles et réglementaires pour une meilleure gestion et une meilleure fonctionnement de ces aires protégées et ces sites qui vont être bientôt, Inch'Allah, déclarés en temps officiellement contre aires protégées en Méditerranée marocaine. Merci, je vous rends la parole.
Merci, cher Hussein, pour avoir tracé un peu cet historique de coopération durant les 10 dernières années entre le SPARAC et les autorités marocaines en vue d'établir donc un réseau d'AMP sur la côte méditerranéenne du Maroc, et d'avoir rappelé le cheminement qui a été suivi par l'identification des sites, leur priorisation, et puis le passage à l'élaboration des plans de gestion et la mise en œuvre de ces plans de gestion moyennant une approche participative et inclusive des acteurs clés, institutionnels, mais également non institutionnels, et en particulier les représentants de la société civile, des populations locales, les communautés des pêcheurs, etc. Donc, merci pour ce tracé historique et merci pour avoir également respecté le temps alloué à cela. Nous reviendrons par la suite si jamais il y a des questions ou des éclaircissements à demander par l'audience. Voilà, donc on passera, on enchaîne et on va abonder dans le même sens. Et on va donner la parole à notre collègue et ami Lara Smeha pour également nous faire part d'un feedback concernant la mise en œuvre de la stratégie nationale pour les aires marines protégées au Liban. un feedback qui retrace un peu les activités clés qui ont été menées, les questions les réussites et les enseignements tirés à partir de ces réussites, mais également s'il y a des choses qui n'étaient pas vraiment sur la bonne voie, c'est des failures, parce qu'on a également à retenir également des leçons à partir de cela. Donc, Lara, on vous donne la parole pour 5 minutes pour nous exposer donc l'implémentation de cette stratégie au niveau du Liban.
Merci beaucoup, Atef. Et bonsoir à tout le monde. Alors, comme Atef a déjà mentionné, je vais présenter la stratégie nationale sur les aires marines protégées au Liban. Durant un projet qu'on a mis en œuvre en partenariat avec l'AUCN, le ministère de l'Environnement libanais et l'AUCN, on a développé cette stratégie qui a été finalisée en 2012. Cette stratégie, on a proposé durant cette stratégie d'établir 9 aires marines protégées nouvelles au Liban, qui sont côtières, et 5 estuaires et 5 dans les eaux profondes d'Ipsi. Cette stratégie, bien sûr, elle a été approuvée officiellement par le ministère de l'Environnement. Autre que les aires marines protégées proposées dans cette stratégie, on a au Liban 3 aires marines protégées, 2 très anciennes qui ont été établies en 92 et 98. Une, c'est les îles des Palmiers au nord du Liban, et l'autre, c'est la réserve côtière de Tyr, qui est au sud du Liban. Et on a une 3e qui a été déclarée très récemment en 2020, qui est Abbasiyeh, qui est juste près de Tyr. Alors, jusqu'à présent, on a 3 aires marines protégées, mais ici, on propose d'autres qui sont 9 côtières, et 5 au Dipsy et 5 estuaires. Alors, dans les 9 côtières, on a eu une collaboration avec le SPARAC qui nous a soutenus dans des projets financés par l'Union européenne et exécutés par le SPARAC. Alors, les experts du SPARAC ont fait des Field Biodiversity Survey, un inventaire de la biodiversité marine, dans les 9 aires marines protégées proposées dans cette stratégie, et la caractérisation écologique de ces aires marines protégées. Du sud jusqu'au nord, 3 ont été faits en 2012, 3 en 2013 et 3 en 2016. Et ils ont développé des rapports de synthèse sur le résultat de ces 9 aires marines protégées proposées. Et vraiment des rapports très riches. Ils ont trouvé de très bons résultats dans ces 9 aires marines protégées qui nous ont soutenus, nous, comme ministère de l'Environnement, pour préparer le dossier de nomination pour ces aires marines protégées. Alors, en se basant sur cette stratégie et en se basant sur les résultats de l'inventaire de la biodiversité marine et les études dans ces 9 aires marines protégées proposées, au ministère de l'Environnement, on a préparé jusqu'à présent 3 dossiers de nomination pour 3 de ces aires marines protégées. Une d'entre elles, elle a été déjà soumis au Conseil des ministres, mais malheureusement pas encore soumis au Parlement, mais déjà sur le track. Et 2 autres, maintenant récemment, on les a soumis au nouveau ministre après l'établissement du nouveau gouvernement au Liban. Et hopefully, on va les soumettre très prochainement au Conseil des ministres. Donc, on a 3 maintenant in process of being declared as a new marine protected areas and which are proposed during this strategy. 3 nouvelles. Et on compte aussi préparer le dossier de nomination des autres 6 proposés après que ces 3 soient déclarés ou au moins ils ont eu leur parcours légal et ils ont été soumis au Parlement. Aussi en 2016, durant un projet qui a été exécuté en partenariat, le ministère de l'Environnement d'un côté, Océane d'un autre côté, SPARAC et la UCN et le CNRS libanais, l'université libanaise, l'université de Malaga en Espagne, de Alicante en Espagne, aussi l'inventaire de la biodiversité marine dans les eaux marines profondes au Liban, dans les 5 sites qui ont été proposés dans cette stratégie. Aussi, il y a eu une expédition dans le contexte de ce projet, de ce partenariat, qui ont fait l'inventaire de cette biodiversité et la caractérisation écologique. Et aussi, il y a un rapport scientifique qui a été préparé et développé. Et il est déjà online et publié. D'un autre côté, maintenant, dans un autre projet, le AMP MPA, qui est aussi un projet européen, financé par l'Union européenne et exécuté par le SPARAC au niveau régional. Le SPARAC, maintenant, il nous soutient à faire le plan de gestion de l'île côtière de Tyr. Maintenant, on va commencer très prochainement. L'équipe de consultants elle a été déjà sélectionnée et on va commencer très prochainement et on espère que d'ici 8 mois, on va avoir un nouveau plan de gestion pour la réserve de Tyr. Alors vraiment, on saisit cette occasion pour remercier le SPARAC pour tout le support qu'il est en train de nous fournir au Liban pour soutenir nos aires marines protégées et la protection et les études de notre biodiversité marine. Aussi, durant ces 3-4 années, on a été soutenu par le SPARAC pour faire la surveillance des sites de nidification des tortues marines tout au long de la côte libanaise et spécifiquement dans nos 2 aires marines protégées de Tyr et de l'île des Palmiers. Et on a des résultats très positifs en ce sens. So, merci beaucoup, le SPARAC.
Thank you very much, Lara, for this synthetic overview of the efforts already made for the declaration of new MPAs in Lebanon, and let's hope that they'll be declared soon, because we are tackling the issue and trying to reduce the gap as already presented this morning between the northern part and the southern and eastern parts of the Mediterranean. And so in terms of coverage, but let's keep in mind also that we have to work, and we are doing that in parallel on the effective management of the already declared sites. So the way is too long, but we are making efforts and activities are there to reduce this gap. And in the same sense, we will move to another country in which we had already made some activities and efforts have been undertaken in order to start declaring MPAs within a national MPA network. And for that reason, I will give the floor to our colleague, Mr. Abdelmoula Hamza from the Ministry of Environment of Libya, to give us an overview of what has been already done, prepared for the declaration of MPAs for their effective management within a national system or network of MPAs. What were the lessons learned from the approach and the process that has been undertaken within these recent years? And if we can also mention some failures and points on which we should focus to improve our strategies and approach. So Abdelmoula, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. And first of all, I'd like to thank Barcelona Convention and the Regional Activity Center for Specially Protected Areas to organize this session. And the relationship between this center, which is the only center in the southern Mediterranean with the Northern African and the Eastern Mediterranean countries, is a strategic one. Started a long time ago in mid-90s with Libya, with the training and help with the surveying of sea turtles along the Libyan coast. And then this have been developed to a wide range of topics, including MPAs, which came as a result of such collaboration in different thematic issues that will lead to preservation and conservation of habitats and species in the marine waters of Libya. So I'd like first to thank RAXPA for this, and we are renewing the commitments of the Ministry of Environment in Libya to continue this strategic relationship with the RAXPA and with the other centers of the Barcelona Convention Mediterranean Action Plan. In light with the Libyan contribution to implement the roadmap that was beautifully presented this morning for a comprehensive, coherent network of well-managed MPAs, and to achieve other targets such as the Target 11, Aichi Target 11 in the Mediterranean. Ecological and socio-economic assessments were conducted in 2 sites. One of them is already declared a marine protected area in 2011, which is Ain El Ghazala, Bomba Bay. This site is, this MPA is a quite important site for seagrasses, sea turtles, and seabird nesting site, or breeding sites. In addition, that it is used by locals for fishing activities. So we're trying to work together with the locals to achieve conservation goals. And also with another existing national park, which is the oldest national park in Libya, the Al Kuf National Park, which is a mountain range ended at the beach with the protected beach that receives an important number of sea turtles for nesting, which is the loggerhead sea turtles. So RAXPA have helped in both places to do socioeconomic assessments, and also to include, to declare the marine part of this national park as an annex to the existing national park. Later in 2013 and 14, RAXPA have assisted Libya to draft a law on protected areas and a national strategy on marine protected areas in the country. This was a participatory process that taken several months, and we had now a draft. But unfortunately, as you know, after 2014, the country have witnessed lots of tragic so-called civil war. Nowadays, things are getting better since the end of 2019. The country is settling back again, and we had a unified government that we hope it will continue the work with through the Ministry of Environment, the work towards this comprehensive network of protected areas, marine protected area. In the same time, in 2011, I was part of a consultancy with the IUCN Mediterranean Center, and also partially with RAXPA, to identify potential future coastal and marine protected areas. And we are using that document now to draft a list of candidate sites. So we are wishing possibly by the middle of next year to announce a set of new protected areas, all of them on the beach, including a marine part, to increase the speed for the target of at least 30% of the Mediterranean should be protected. In other activities, the implementation of the first phase of Integrated Monitoring Assessment Program, IMAP, and the RAXPA for biodiversity and non-native species within the framework of the ECAP, or Ecosystem Approach Roadmap. In this regard, monitoring of biodiversity indicators have been undertaken initial stage in 5 regions along the Libyan coast. The Libyan coast is the longest in North Africa with the 2,000 kilometers of coast. Most of them is the sandy beaches, and a few parts are rocky. And after running a number of training courses with RAXPA, with national experts and with some international experts and relevant national authorities for monitoring the biodiversity indicators, we are collecting quality data, assured data reporting for UNIP map strategy on good environmental status. So we are hoping to be in line with the other Mediterranean countries to adopt the GES or the good environmental status for our environmental work. The elaboration during 2021 of a national report within the post-2020 strategic action program for the conservation of marine and coastal biodiversity in Libya. Libya actually participated in the first round of the SAB Bio in 2002-2003. And at that time, we have produced a national report and 3 action plans. One of them is the action plan on sea turtles, which is, I was editor of that action plan, and was issued just after the adoption of the regional Mediterranean action plan on sea turtles in the year 2000. The implementation of a national sea turtle nesting monitoring, and maybe you heard me talking a lot about sea turtles, because sea turtles is one of the flagship species that we are very careful with, because Libya is one of the maybe the biggest country in North Africa or the southern Mediterranean that hosts thousands of nests for the loggerhead sea turtles. And with us, my colleague Mokhtar was discovering the first nest for green turtles in Libya last year, in line with the discovery of a green turtle nest in Tunisia. So green turtles are also expanding thanks to the conservation efforts. So in this regards, with the national nesting monitoring program, which called the Libyan Sea Turtle Program, initiated with RAXPA since many years in 2005, have been recently strengthened with the implementation of a regional project on conservation of sea turtles in the Mediterranean under the MAVA initiative partnership. And several activities have been planned, and some of them have been already completed, including observation of sea turtle nesting in known locations, and also exploration of new sites, and also updating the national action plan on protection of sea turtles, which was issued in 2002 and then updated in 2020. The other aspects of collaboration with RAXPA might include also the elaboration of the national action plan on marine non-indigenous species. And within 2 weeks' time from today, we will have a national workshop with guests from RAXPA Atef will be in Tripoli, hopefully by mid-December, to moderate this workshop with other national experts who prepared this action plan and discuss it with the relevant scientists and local national authorities. Participation of the specialists in many events organized by RAXPA, especially in the Mediterranean Conference of Important Habitat Invasive Species, the symposia that was organized by RAXPA on seagrasses conservation, and also sea turtles and seabirds conservation, was a continuous activity to present some fruits of this collaboration. And this collaboration, as I said, is strategic for Libya, and we are looking to continue and expand it in future with the help of RAXPA and other friends around the Mediterranean. So RAXPA and the Ministry of Environment in future, hopefully they will continue the technical collaboration and the policy updating collaboration in several aspects, including the implementation of the roadmap that we have seen this morning in a coherent network of well-managed protected areas to achieve the targets that we mentioned before. And also we should collaborate to elaborate management plans of existing MPAs. We have 2 existing MPAs. One of them actually have a project with another funding from CPF to prepare a draft action plan by an NGO, which is something new in Libya, where the government is consolidating preparation of action plan to NGO, hopefully to reach the goal of co-management or synergized management between government and non-governmental organization. Also, in this visit in December, we are going to discuss the final touches on the law drafted in 2014. So we are trying to activate that process now and pass the law to the Parliament to be adopted. And also on the national, we are going to discuss the national strategy on marine protected areas, trying to collect also comments from other stakeholders in the country, in line with the post-2020 regional marine strategy on coastal protected areas and other effective based conservation measures in the Mediterranean. I'm going to finish with the implementation of the ecosystem approach through the implementation of a second phase of the National Integrated Monitoring Program. The minister will going to sign soon, hopefully this week or next week, the memorandum of understanding for this second phase, where activities planned will be implemented during the next 3 years, I think. And implementation or continuous the support of the sea turtle nesting program, the Libyan sea turtle program, and also to implement the new activities listed in the updated national action plan on sea turtles in Libya, where we have included also marine litter and also the use of marine sea turtles as an indicator for pollution, which is the topic of another session today. Finally, after the discussion of the and adoption of the national action plan on marine non-indigenous species, we are looking towards putting a timetable of activities to implement this national action plan. And also, finally, I wanted to add that we need also to update the national action plan on seabirds prepared in 2003. After all of these years of work with RAXPA, with other organizations in the Mediterranean, we have gathered enough wealth of knowledge to update this action plan and to start the phase of actual protection of seabird habitats and species. With this, I'm sorry to take that much time for reading all of this, but thank you very much for the opportunity. And thank you for RAXPA for supporting Libya in these activities. And we are looking to do more and more with RAXPA and with other partners in the Mediterranean. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdel Moula. Thank you very much for this a bit long feedback, but very interesting and detailed. And so I would retain especially and congratulate Libya for elaborating the post-2020 national report for Saba, and also for the recent efforts made to submit and to adopt the new law, the law. It's the law on protected areas in Libya, and along with the national strategy that would be certainly a step forward for the implementation and development of the marine protected areas in Libya, for sure. And this is a real advance in terms of making and continuing efforts along the southern coast of the Mediterranean, with an important state with many seascape features, interesting and particular features. And I will, with this, I will move to also to ask for another feedback from another neighbor in the southern part. Et je vais donc parler en français pour donner la parole à notre collègue Mouloud Ben Abdi d'Algérie, pour nous faire part également du processus de classement d'une nouvelle aire marine protégée en Algérie, donc l'île de Rajboun. Mouloud, à vous la parole, et je vous demanderai d'être précis et concis. Voilà. Merci.
Merci, Atef. Bonsoir tout le monde. Alors, je vais essayer d'être bref pour essayer de faire le tour des aires marines protégées en Algérie. Je commence par remercier le SPARAC à travers cette session qui est un espace d'expression qui nous permet de vous présenter la situation des aires protégées et particulièrement la dernière en date réalisée avec l'appui du SPARAC. En effet, la dynamique des aires protégées a commencé très tôt en Algérie et particulièrement avec la Convention de Barcelone. Depuis la ratification du protocole ASPBD en 1995 par l'Algérie, un vent en poupe des aires marines protégées a soufflé en Algérie et s'est concrétisé en 2002 par la création déjà du ministère de l'Environnement, le lancement de l'étude de la première et la doyenne des aires protégées algériennes, les îles Habibas, et la création de l'outil, de l'instrument d'exécution des stratégies de protection de la mer en Algérie, qui est le Commissariat national du littoral. Donc, le point de départ, c'était la Convention de Barcelone. Par la suite, dès la création de cette réserve, de la doyenne des réserves, il y a eu un plan d'action qui a été élaboré où nous avons identifié une vingtaine d'espaces très intéressants pour la conservation, dont le site de l'Eshkoun qui fait aujourd'hui l'objet d'une étude de classement. Donc, le travail a évolué tant bien que mal avec la situation de l'époque qui n'était pas très favorable au développement. Mais en 2011, avec l'avènement de la loi sur les aires protégées et qui vient appuyer la création d'aires protégées, rapidement, 6 aires marines protégées ont été créées en Algérie jusqu'à aujourd'hui et la 7e qui est l'île de Rejgoun, qui est en cours et il le sera probablement à la moitié de l'année prochaine. Donc, la particularité de cet espace, c'est qu'il se situe en mer d'Alboran, qui est le poumon hydrologique de la Méditerranée et qui présente une connectivité très intéressante avec les autres sites particuliers de la mer d'Alboran. Donc, le SPARAC a appuyé non seulement l'étude pour le classement, mais a insisté pour que ça soit fait dans une optique participative et inclusive de l'ensemble des potentialités de la zone. Le SPARAC a également appuyé l'Algérie à partir de 2004 avec à El Qala, et a continué à le faire avec le Raya qui se trouve aujourd'hui classé grâce à l'étude réalisée avec l'appui du SPARAC à l'époque. Mais pas seulement, le SPARAC a appuyé également le développement des AMP en Algérie à travers les formations et le renforcement des capacités et les diverses sessions de formation organisées en Algérie ou en Tunisie ou ailleurs, où il a donné la possibilité à l'Algérie, aux experts algériens et aux associations algériennes de participer de façon régulière à ces sessions de renforcement de capacités. Aujourd'hui, le SPARAC appuie également le développement de la protection, donc le programme de protection de la tortue marine en Algérie. Et depuis 3 ans, l'Algérie est considérée comme partie prenante dans la conservation des tortues marines au niveau méditerranéen. Et l'Algérie participe déjà depuis 3 ans au rapport méditerranéen sur la conservation des tortues marines grâce aux efforts du SPARAC et ses financements. Un premier nid a été découvert en Algérie en 2017. Donc, je ne pense pas pouvoir dire plus parce qu'il y a tellement à dire et 5 minutes sont vraiment insuffisantes. Mais je continue à dire, le SPARAC également appuie le programme IMAP en Algérie avec le déploiement de plusieurs indicateurs depuis déjà quelques années et ça continue et qui représente aujourd'hui une actualité. Donc, je remercie vivement les efforts et surtout l'appui continuel du SPARAC et de nos amis tunisiens. Et je vous rends la parole. Merci.
Merci, Cheikh Mahmoud, pour être aussi précis et court. Et aller droit au but. Je note et je salue les efforts qui sont déployés par l'Algérie, notamment dans le processus de classement de l'île Rajgoun, moyennant et sur la base d'une approche participative qui inclut tous les acteurs donc, et parties prenantes donc, concernées, et en particulier donc, les représentants de la société civile. Ça, c'est un pas en avant qui est notable dans cette approche, notamment pour l'île Rajgoun, et ça dénote de l'importance d'impliquer les organisations de la société civile dans le développement et la gestion effective des aires marines protégées. Donc, merci pour ça. Et j'enchaîne avec ça, and I will switch into English to have the final feedback and statement from a representative of a civil society organization in Albania, INCA, and to showcase the work and activities done, and in particular involving the civil society in the establishment of Porto Palermo marine protected area in Albania. So Genti, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Atef, for giving me the opportunity to talk about marine protected areas in Albania, which is a history which is strictly linked to the support from Barcelona Convention and specifically from SPARAC. Before going to specifically on Porto Palermo, I would say that our history on marine protected area starts in 2010 with the establishment of the first and ever marine protected area in the National Park of Karaburun-Sazan, which was due to positive pressure from SPARAC and other donors on the government of Albania to have this marine protected area. Since then, we have continued our effort to enlarge this network. And in 2013, Albania developed a strategy on marine protected areas, which identified the key sites that should be established as marine protected areas over the years. And one of these sites was this Porto Palermo area, which due to generous support from SPARAC, we were able to develop initially a number of studies, including ecological studies, so assessing the status of habitats and species, of important habitats and species occurring in the area. But not only, we also develop a socioeconomic study to see what are the usages of the area, so what local people are using the area for and what are the potentials for development of any economic activities in the area. And we didn't stop there. With the support again from SPARAC, we also developed a management plan for the area to be and prepared all documentations for the area to be established as a national marine protected area. And then we successfully failed to do that because we had resistance from the government, particularly from the Ministry of Agriculture, which had plans to use the area for aquaculture development. But we didn't stop our efforts. We continue being an organization, a civil society organization. We work with other NGOs in the area. We kept our engagement with local communities. And after some years of hard work, we managed to at least establish the area as a locally managed protected area, which is now managed by the municipality of Himara, which is managing the place. And we are continuing to work with our colleagues, with the local community to try to protect this area, to protect its valuable habitats, and also promote sustainable use of resources in order to provide for development of the area.
Thank you very much, Genti. Thank you very much for this nice statement. And I would congratulate you and commend the work done by your association, the INCA, towards the effective implementation of the management plan already prepared for Porto Palermo Bay. And with this, we have finished with our statements. I would apologize for the audience for this long statement, but we tried to give you an overview and an idea on the efforts already made and so far initiated in the southern and eastern part, northeastern part of the Med, in order to reduce the gap, in order to be in line with the new strategies and the new, let's say, hope and will to have a well-connected and well-representative network of marine protected areas in the Med. And I think that within the adoption of the two strategies, there will be a progress, and we'll be working together in collaboration, as always, with the countries in order to reach the the regional, but also to be in line with the global targets. So if from the audience, I know that it's a bit late, but if there is any reaction, any comment, any questions, we could, yes, we could with pleasure respond to this. It was enough clear, it was, okay, okay. Our colleague Pep, let's see.
So I would like to thank and congratulate all of you because of the presentation, and also to have shown us the extremely great achievements you have done along these last years. I'm really impressed, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one here to see these new developments in recent years in your countries. And a question is for Souha, for the RAXPA people. When you were talking about the strategies, there was a word which you have said, which is very important, which is evaluation. Evaluation of the strategies. I think that evaluation is a key word for the future, but it shouldn't be done at the end of the procedure. We shouldn't evaluate our success or not in 2030. But we have to, because the date is quite close, the targets are really stringent, and we need to make a great effort. So that would need a continuous evaluation, a process of evaluation all along the decade, and an adaptive evaluation in order to modify or change or adapt ourselves to the targets in relations to the achievements. And this should be a process all along the time. And I would like to know your opinion on that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Pep. I mean, this is actually very important. Maybe we didn't mention that in the presentation, but the Saba strategy has already a set of indicators for its evaluation, I think, and we have planned midterm and final evaluation. For the protected area strategy, the plan is to develop a monitoring and evaluation program next year after the adoption. We are expecting to see the final targets that would be adopted at CBD, maybe indicators to be also in line with the global indicators and other, and then we will try to monitor not every year, maybe at the Barcelona Convention level, we work at biennial level, so 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, every 2 years we'll try to have some indicators and monitoring. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Souha. So, and we were checking with our colleagues, the technical support colleagues, if there has been any reaction or questions from the online participants. And I think it's okay. It's a bit late, and people have to go. We will have to go to the Novotel. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's keep the track in the good way, and have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.